Well guys, welcome back to another video. Beautiful landscape I've got for you today. Typical West Australian bushland. Middle of winter, nothing but blue skies and sunshine. And what better bike to be out exploring this beautiful land than the Himalayan 450. Now a lot of you guys have asked me exactly, Solid, what are the accessories you've got on the bike? How far along is it? Do I have many accessories to go? And how am I finding the bike now that I've got it modified to where I want it to be? So in this video, we're going to talk through all the accessories that I've bolted up to the Himalayan to get it just that perfect amount of adventure bike. Pretty much the first mod that I did to this bike was the handguards. I think that is the glaringly obvious weakness of the Himalayan 450 rolling off the showroom floor. The CF Moto 450 MT comes with plastic handguards. Sure, they might only survive a drop or two, but that is better than nothing. And particularly when you get a new bike, you just want to get off into the trails. But these bark busters have been brilliant. These are the VPS plastics. I like them because the little black bit up here, that can actually be adjusted. You can have it low, high. I've got it set in the high setting to keep the cold winter wind and the rain off my hands. And you can also take it completely off, so you've just got the yellow bit when it comes time for summer. These are really quality handguards and pretty much the OG when it comes to handguards. I mean, how many of us, when we're talking about handguards, just call them bark busters anyway, which is testament to this particular brand. Although I will say pay attention to the instructions because it isn't identical on both sides. Don't stuff it up. Don't be a dickhead like Solid. Read the instructions. But otherwise, fantastic product. Couldn't be happier. Next on down the list is kind of a two-parter, but it comes as a package, and that is SRC Adventure Moto bash plate and crash guards. Now, fortunately, I haven't really needed the crash guards yet because I haven't dropped this. It's only a matter of time before I do, because if anyone's seen me riding off-road, it's kind of my specialty. So I definitely needed these. I do understand why it's needed, particularly with the Himalayan 450. The engine casings stick out an awful lot. I would also note, pay attention to the torque settings, and they're all a little bit different. So it's really important you pay attention to that when you're fitting any crash guards up to the Himalayan 450. There's a little bit of misinformation out there actually that you need the Royal Enfield specific version of these to be fine and for it to be proper and protective and not faulty. That's not the case. It's just you need to follow the proper torque specs when you're fitting things up. I haven't had any issues with this. Why did I go this over the standard Royal Enfield accessory catalogue? Well, this one is much thicker, much more robust, and I think it looks better aesthetically too. The all black really suits this bike. It kind of just blends in, doesn't stand out quite as much. And I also like this little bit here, these plastic guards. These are kind of protectors for the protectors, I guess, put on top to take the brunt of the impact. And the idea is you can swap these out for a new set if you need, and it keeps all your bar work looking nice and shiny. It's a little bit pretentious, but hey, it's a nice little piece of insurance. And thanks to Tony at SRC Adventure Moto, mate, and I can speak highly for a lot of their gear. So this is definitely a quality piece of kit, and it's already been helpful today out on the trail. Other little things I've done, it's not really a mod, but obviously you just pull the rubbers out of your foot pegs if you're going off-road, because if you leave the rubber in there, it's going to get very slippery very quickly, and that is a problem. And you can't just do it with a pair of pliers, they're actually bolted in. So just a little bit of a note, you got to flip them up, undo 3 bolts from the bottom, and they're out. And I've got a giant loop handlebar bag here. I've had this for years on pretty much every dual sport I've ever owned. And I like it with this bike because I'm really gun shy about putting a tank bag on this because of this beautiful paintwork. I want to keep this kind of looking as good as I can. Inevitably, I am going to ruin it, but I'm trying to postpone that eventuality. So the handlebar bag's really good. And I find I don't need too much. I can store a water bottle in here, my driver's license, tire gauge, a few little knickknacks in here, and it's just perfect. Particularly on those days where you just want to run down to the cafe and all you need is your phone and maybe a bottle of water, so you're good to go. That's the other little thing, just a quad lock here on the front. I've had that for years, have it on plenty of bikes. I got rid of the stock tyres as soon as I could, and I've got the Bridgestone AX41s on here, and I've got to say, absolutely brilliant tyres. And I wanted a tyre that could handle the corners as well, but still be pretty competent off-road. And I've got to say, these AX41s do exactly what it says on the package. So they're pretty good in all scenarios. I'd say they're as good as the MT21s until you hit mud or sand, or really loose, deep surfaces. General trail riding, when you're in the dirt, a little bit of mud, a little bit of sand, just your general trail riding, there's almost no difference until you really start to turn up the heat. So these tyres have an amazing amount of grip considering they're more of a 50-50 tyre. After a short time, you really do feel like you understand when the tyre is going to let go. It's not one of those tyres where it just surprises you and suddenly your back end's out and you're on your ass wondering what the hell happened. They also help give the bike a much more aggressive look as well. So I think they suit the bike a lot better than the pretty street orientated tyres that come on this, but it's definitely going to be more noisy than the stock tyres. So just note that. Don't be surprised when you hop on and you got a bit of tyre noise. This little tail bag has to be one of the most underrated little items I've got for any bike for quite some time. This is the Nelson's Rig tail bag. It's the 5.5 litre, and it feels like it was built for this bike. It's absolutely perfect just to carry all my tools, my tire inflator, shove my beanie and my sunnies in, and most importantly, it's lockable. You can throw a little lock through there for added security. Talking about great things, we've got to talk about this Lead 8.5 MX helmet. It's been an absolute revelation to my off-road riding. I haven't had a helmet like this that fits this good, weighs as little as this does, and is so functional off-road. Yeah, it's still okay as long as you're not doing adventure touring out on the open road. ECE rated, road legal as well, so these are a fantastic helmet. You get a helmet bag and a set of goggles with these. Peakn.au, chuck in the code SOLID10 for 10% off on anything on their website, but I definitely recommend checking these helmets out. So those are the modifications I've got at the moment. There are a few mods that I've got left to do. One of those is probably replacing the mirrors at some point. These haven't broken yet, but that's because I haven't dropped it. They're not exactly easy to fold in out of the way in tight trails. So I'll probably just do what I always do, get some double take mirrors, call it job done. Now the big one for me that I haven't upgraded that I really want to upgrade, but I'm just waiting for accessories to get on the market, is the radiator guard here. So I'm just holding out for someone like B&B Off-Road to make a proper rad guard that I can fit up and really be confident if I do come off that the radiator is really well protected. Because at the moment, it's not ideal having that flimsy little plastic thing attached to there. But aside from that, I really don't plan to do much more to this Himalayan 450. I'm not going to be messing with the engine. I'm not going to be decatting it or putting a pipe on there. The seat is probably something I will address at some point. I'm going to be sticking with the smaller screen. At the start, when I first got this bike, I really thought I'd want the bigger screen, But that's been perfect out on the highway. I do find that this screen is perfect for me because dirty wind is hitting me in the chest from the screen. And I find the tallest screens generally direct all that turbulent, dirty wind straight at my head. So then my head is bobbling around, looking like an absolute twat out on my bike, out on the highway. So I found that the smaller screens actually suit me better 9 times out of 10. And as a few other guys have mentioned with their Himalayan 450s when I've chatted to them when I've pulled up to the cafe after a trail ride, is we all agree the shorter screen, you're not going to hit yourself in the face if you're riding real tough stuff and you're going over whoops. One of the guys fitted the taller screen to his bike and he just about brained himself on the front screen when he went over some pretty big whoops. So food for thought there too. Being a country boy, I don't know what it is, but every time I hit the bush, I just feel like a weight is lifted off my shoulders and just the vitality in me, I can feel it being restored. I just love being out here in the sun, listening to the trees whistle in the wind and the birds hopping from tree to tree. It's just such a restorative process getting out here onto the trails, and I think it's a big part of why we all love doing this. Anyway, this is the sad bit where I have to gear up and head home for the day.